wrong. I mean, the way I look at it is, if you had a problem with me, you should have fought me in the locker room. Don't hit me with live rounds in the ring when I'm giving you my body. I mean, I'm leaning my face out there, and he's hitting me with everything he has. And when you're supposed to be that mad, like you can lift a car off a baby and stuff, one thing I'm proud of, this dude's hitting me with everything he got, and he can't even knock me out.
It was a hard time of my life. I know that. It was, but pretty much did that damage our freaking career hugely. Yeah. By that, well, there was no more Nasty Boys after that.
I always considered him a friend up until then. I don't dislike the guy. I just think he made some really, made some bad choices in his life.
We were in a bar, and I just we were waiting on some food. We were all at the table drinking, and somebody brought up the question. I think asked Arn the question, "What's wrong with our business? Why aren't we drawing like the other company? This and that, this and that." The one thing about me is, man, I mean, if you can't be honest, you can be honest with me because you can't hurt my feelings.
By the time we got off, 10 hours later, I mean, you're talking about after an 8-hour plane ride, a 2.5-hour trip, and then fighting, and then a 10-hour bus ride. I mean, the guys were frazzled and worn, and I remember we were Lauren and myself and Sid and I don't know, a couple other guys were sitting at this table. And we were finishing up a beer while everyone was checking in, and I remember getting up and said, "Guys, I'm going to bed."
But anyway, so we got to that was started the argument, and then we got the little, verbal argument, and I think he slung a beer in my face in the bar. And then as I was going to my room, him and a bunch of guys were in the hallway, and he broke a beer bottle and threatened to cut me then. And my room was only just a few rooms down from him. Like I came past his room, took a left, and about 4 doors was my room. And we got in there where my food was. And I thought it was going to come to the bar, but it actually came to my room. I was sitting there eating part of that sandwich. And I said, "Man, this motherfucker." I've got a bad temper too. I said, he threatened me, he hit some beer in my face, and then he just fucking threatened me with a fucking beer bottle. He broke it. I said, "No, I forgot, draw a fucking line." So there's a chair that sit like that right there, and I fucking ripped the fucking leg off of it. I was going to go in and whack him in his fucking head a couple times. So when I got back down there was no one in the hallway. And the door was shut. So I knocked on the door, I said, "Come on out here, motherfucker. Bring your beer bottle, whatever." Some words were exchanged. I couldn't hardly hear him. I heard him falling around, stumbling around, I thought. I said, "Man, he's fucked up. As bad as I am, And by the time I get to realize what I was doing, I said, "This is fucking stupid."
Then I was in my room and I heard some yelling and screaming out in the lobby. So I literally came out in my underwear. Me in my underwear at 420 pounds. It's quite a sight, these huge legs,
Arn come out, I left, turned my back, heard the door open, I turned around, Arn was sitting there with a pair of scissors. And I went just like this. I said, "Man, hey, this has gone too fucking far." And then I just remember him coming after me. All right, so he came after me. I don't really remember getting stabbed in the beginning. And we were in some 2 doors in a corridor, and he backed me up there, and I had nowhere to fucking run. And when he came into me, he got close to me. When he did, I think I hit him 1 time, and he fell down like at my feet. And when he did, I looked at him, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw the scissors fall. They were falling out of my stomach, and I got a scar right there. So when I saw the scissors fall, now I realized I'd been stabbed. But I didn't feel it in my face and my hands. But then he lunged back for him a second time, and they were at my feet, and I got him first. And then it happened so fast, it was like a nightmare, And I remember, I think somebody said, or him or somebody that walked in the hallway said, "Man, you're killing me," or something. And I had the scissors in my hand. And I looked down and I saw him, and I thought, "Fuck, now he's fucked up." So I threw the fucking scissors as far as I could. I bent over to actually try to pick him up to haul him to the fucking front desk to call the ambulance. When I did, blood came gushing out of my stomach. And now I realized I've been stabbed, so I'm scared to fucking death. I had all white on. So I run down the fucking hallway.
So the next thing I know is I saw Sid kind of doing this monster walk toward me, and literally there was blood just, and it wasn't dribbling down. It actually had a little power to it. It was coming out about an inch from his belly. It was pouring out of his belly. And I remember I just grabbed the back and I stuck my thumb in the hole. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Just stuck it in there, and it stopped the bleeding, or drastically slowed it down. And I yelled at someone to get a chair, and I screamed, just give me a chair. And then I told the lady to give me some towels. And I walked him over to the ambulance, and then the guy said, okay, I got it now, boom. And I was completely blood, and I really never saw Arn because he was in a different part of the hotel.
Yeah.
But Sid was pretty beat up, and he had a hole in his stomach. So but that's the only part I saw.
These are some other things that people don't know. Now, we were supposed to have been flown on different flights back, put in different hotels. When I was in the hotel room, when I was in the hospital, the police, or whatever you call it, law enforcement over there, they came into my room trying to get me to press charges against him.
Huh.
And I said, no, man, I'm not going to press charges against him. I said, we both, made a mistake. I don't know how bad he's really hurt. I really didn't. He said, well, your friend don't have one scratch on him. Here I'm at exploratory surgery already. I've got stabs in my. I said, he's not got a scratch on him. And I thought, maybe, like I said, that it happened so fast, I really don't remember it happening.
Yeah.
And I thought, this motherfucker. So I was going to press charges on him.
Yeah.
And then that night, a nurse came over to my room and said, man, your friend is really messed up. And then I knew the place was lying.
Yeah.
So I dropped the charges. All right, now we get to go home. I find him in the hotel by myself. I go to, Arn leaves his boots at the hospital, so I took them with me to get him turned down the road somewhere.
Yeah.
I found out he was at the same hotel that I was at, so I just left him at the front desk and he said, you give these to Arn Anderson. So I went to a machine to get me a drink, cold drink, Coke or something. As I was coming back through, Joey Maggs was there. Joey Maggs was picking up the boots. I said, man, is Arn okay? He goes, no, man, he's messed up. I said, man, tell him I'm sorry. With all the people in the world, Arn was the last person I wouldn't want to do that to anybody unless I had to. But I did not want, he would have been the last person in the world because he had only been good to me as a person. I don't know what he might have said ever behind my back, face to face. He was always a gentleman, and I can only assume that he was like that at all times or felt like that. So I said, well, what does Arn say? And Joey said, Arn said he was so fucked up he can't remember anything.
I think everyone just kind of was in shock, and we were extremely tired. I remember we had a meeting at the next venue, which was the next night, and Turner was thinking about shutting down that tour and bringing us all home, and then make a decision whether he was going to, keep this business. And I don't know how much of that was a shoot or to scare us. And Dusty asked me to speak to everyone, and I did, standard stuff. Hey guys, we need to address this tour, be on our best behavior, and the last thing we want to do is fight amongst ourselves. And it was a long day, and blah blah blah. What's happen's happened, we'll find out what's going on. But
They, what I understood, Eric Bischoff said that he had a lot of guys threatening to quit if I was brought back and this and that, and me and my lawyer went in to meet with him and one of the head executives, Bill Shaw or whatever, Bill Shaw, and we talked about it. We didn't really come up with an answer yet. Of course, they later released me, but it wasn't given the ultimatum that I would be there or he would be there or nothing like that.
We recruited Sid because of the success we